always asking am I alright, as if auspicious or in my pint. I'll find the answer or a good night. Thank God the time is short. And yes, you always do that one thing when you wrinkle up the nose bridge. I'm trying to figure out what that meant. I took it as a taunt. Remember way back then in school? Oh, did anybody ever say no to you? Oh, did anybody ever say no to you? Whoa, I don't think I have a clue. Cause well, did anybody ever say no to you? Oh, did anybody ever say no to you? Whoa, you're always trying to leave the table. Phone calls, toilet breaks, unstable. And don't you think that we can all tell? You're insecure, I guess I always do that one thing when I get too drunk and jumping to figure out what makes your brain tick. I'm a listener. Remember way back then in school? Cause well, did anybody ever say no to you? Oh, did anybody ever say no to you? Whoa, I don't think I have a clue. Cause well, did anybody ever say no to you? Oh, did anybody ever say no to you? Whoa. Woo. I don't think so. I don't think so. Get the number for the
Motherfuckers, I didn't expect people to raid within 1 minute of the goddamn fuckers. I didn't expect people to raid within 1 minute of the goddamn fuckers. I didn't expect people to raid within 1 minute of the goddamn fuckers.
and yes, you always do that one thing.
Okay, that hurt. I did not expect people to raid within the first fucking, what, minute
Took it as a taunt.
of the stream? But I can. It is not that hard. There.
Stop.
Just a copy and paste.
Cause why'd you have to kill my cat? Why'd I have to take you back? And time I play the empath. I don't know why. Some lights on in an empty bar. A toilet with the seat left up. It's closure like a deer in headlight. One day I know that you will be there. One day I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day. Oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent? One day I know that you will be there. One day I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day. Oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent? So let's talk about what I want to do. Cause all I want to do is turn back time at least a couple Tuesdays to before I found one life turned to. I said it last time, but I'm not afraid of empty rooms. I'm not afraid of new perfume. And in fact, my dear, I'm fucking terrified. One day I know that you will be there. One day I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day. Oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent? One day I know that you will be there. One day I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day. Oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent? Woo! Cause I know that one day I know that you will be there. One day I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day. Oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent? One day I know that you will be there. One day I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day. Oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent?
Yes, hello. Hi. Fuck. Everything's going on. Hello? I fucking dropped something. Hi. Give me a hot second. I know I'm 3 hours fucking late, but I went to go eat out with my friends before all of us leave.
Think he'd realize
Because me and Atlas are leaving for college. Well, I'm leaving for college. He's leaving for work.
what possessions and far-flung social policy.
Why is my like across the street neighbor's like light flicker?
Mrs. loves the silver spoon. Swore she'd never kiss a Tory, but this boy was too good to lose. And I listened carefully. With his pressed to the floor as you can make your way downstairs. You haven't got far to fall. Now it's red, now it's dead, now it's everything she needs. So open doors, so it's present he needs. Now it's a sad, sucky suffer. Bitch, I see you left the Discord. What the fuck? Okay, it's fine, whatever. Also, change of plans. We're not doing Minecraft. We're doing Genshin. So I'm gonna bitch about Genshin for a little bit. I've been scared of sleeping with the lights on, but she's not there. I know she's going to. Alice, I'm gonna fucking stab you.
Whoever decided to put their hands on my kids, please come outside so I can peacefully break your legs. Whoever decided
it's playing
to
twice.
put their hands on my kids, please come outside so I can peacefully break your legs.
Alice, the fuck? I love you, but what the fuck? Oh, that's kind of convenient, but hi, welcome. I know I'm 3 hours late. I was out with friends eating food because the food is very much delicious. Hello, hi. So yeah, I didn't put this in the title, but this is my last stream while I'm here because I'm leaving for college literally Sunday. And so yeah, enjoyed that. Where's Loaf? I will go get the loaf. You want me to go get Loaf? I want to start this video first, but I will go get Loaf. Because I've been super excited to watch this.
But
yes.
I said that if a woman is going out with a man,
I'll be back.
she belongs to that man. That's his woman, so she wants to do only
I'll be back.
she owes him some money because she's his.
So that is you saying that women are your property.
Have you ever seen a woman try and do anything competently?
If you are listening, Andrew Tate, you are weird.
I'm gonna find you and peg you, Andrew Tate.
Why they angry? He's speaking reality. Why you gonna get mad cause he's telling you to treat me like a king?
I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet. They create life. They should be protected. They should be provided for.
You go, fuck her. That's how it goes. Slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex.
I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet.
Sparkling water, please. Oh shit, Andrew?
How you doing, bro? Keep her in line, bro. You're doing good.
I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet.
When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me, you're trying to resist, and I just
The loaf has been acquired.
and then I grab you by your neck again. Then what the fuck are you gonna do? Your face is collapsed.
So you actually know this is not Gucci. He is not meowed. But we got Puppy.
How's it going, Dazzlers? Welcome back to Daz Games and another Daz Watches.
I have Pocky, by the way.
The most
I have...
unique
Yeah,
Daz Watches
we have the loaf.
I think I've ever filmed or done research into.
I was so excited when this was revealed on Twitter.
With a woman. Now,
Loaf.
depending on the outcome of this video, you would have heard the phone call. But as I'm filming this now, she's
There you
going
go.
to get back to me to see if she's happy to
Oh, God.
submit her evidence.
Sushi, you were on my headphone.
If I do not include the phone call that I've just had, it is because she has decided that she would like to keep
Oh God,
herself private as she is concerned.
you are
as
stuck.
many other
Okay,
women
there we go.
are, about her safety when it comes to who we are reacting
Loaf.
to today.
Loaf. Oh,
Andrew
God.
Tate. The phone call that I've just had is with a young woman
Oh,
who
bye-bye.
knew Andrew.
He was gonna come later.
And the women that are coming forward to me, who are reaching out to me and telling me their stories, they involve situations of abuse, violence, sexual violence,
Hi.
assault. And unfortunately, everything that you're seeing is not a character. This is exactly who.
I'm gonna be honest. If you like Andrew Tate, I'm gonna miss Loaf. My mom will send pictures of Loaf, so I will put them in the Discord.
But I do have a platform
Also, I'll post them on
And
Twitter.
With my knowledge of the current situation and multiple women coming forward to me, my advice to them was to go back to the police, speak to them, and my platform will always be a voice for women and men of domestic abuse, sexual violence, and assault. I will always speak up against it, and I don't care how much of a G you are. Today we're leaving internet trends, we're leaving humor, we're leaving diss tracks, we're leaving everything out of this because this has turned into something that I quite frankly, I'm not surprised. That phone call just happened, and if it's in the video it's because she has asked it to be, and if it's not, that's what happened just now. But for those who don't know, and I find it very hard to believe that many of us don't know who Andrew Tate is, I don't think I have to do any explaining. But let's get into this. Who is Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate is a internet personality and multi-millionaire, self-made businessman, said to run a pyramid-schemed empire based on giving out business advice. I haven't really looked too much into the business because unfortunately everything else just overshadowed it, but apparently it's a very successful business and many young men are being coached by this man.
Sniff Sharpies.
on how to
Yes,
lead
sorry, I had to look at something. I had to look at like last minute college
As
things.
most men are taught in life, we must grow up strong, we must grow up tough, and we must never back down from a fight or show emotion. And Andrew Tate has won over his own fans, not just because.
Oh, fun fact! Since this video has been posted, he is banned from Instagram, which I'm forever proud of. Also, we are lighting a candle because I like the smell of this candle.
Him being a kickboxer, it's just the start of it. Really, his career started back when he was in Big Brother, and he was evicted because footage of him beating a woman with a belt, who I have come to understand was his former girlfriend, was released. I cannot show all of the footage, but
Hold up.
this is all
Loafing
out on the
Candles, this is
internet,
real
so
comfort
I'll
stream.
mix it up with
I can turn the
all
lights
the
off and just have my LED lights.
this is,
Like, I can turn off this main light and just have the LED lights
I
playing.
believe got Andrew Tate removed from Big Brother.
Beaten with what? With
So
what?
it's nice and cozy.
Belt,
And you'll
'cause
just
you're a
see
jerk.
my
Show me the
you'll just see
proof.
my computer on the side.
I have an idea. You know what my idea is? You wanna know what my idea is? That's right, lock the door, you knew I was gonna beat the out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't. Get out.
Is that how you spell
You can't stay
salt?
in there forever.
Now, the woman I've spoken to said that Andrew has many girls that apparently
Oh god, I spelled his name wrong.
is a very deliberate abuse
There we go.
relationships for. And some of the girls have come forward saying that they were just playing, joking, and that this was part of their dynamic in their relationship.
Go tell the camera that I beat you.
He does.
Say it in English, proper English, no Slovak bull. Say it to the camera. That's not what I said. Say, is it? I said I said tell the camera I beat you when you don't do as I say. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say the word listen? Did I say the word listen? Stupid bitch.
If your first instincts of like your partner not listening to you is to literally beat the shit out of them, you are a terrible human being, and I hope you burn in all of hell.
Did I say it? Look at the camera. This is what happens. You don't listen. Look at the camera. Why are you getting hit? Why are you getting beaten? You don't listen. You do as I say.
Now, this is what Tate had to say about these clips being released, and then we'll give my views.
So, yeah, exactly. So, you were on a reality TV show, and a video of you hitting a woman with a belt.
Yeah, so video of me hitting a woman with a belt blows up. It's all in the, this is like 10 years ago, before the internet was big. So it's like English tabloids, blah, blah, blah. Andrew's a woman beater, Andrew's a woman beater. The woman, obviously, now once again, this is an IQ test, right? Because any guy who's bad with women would look at it and go, Tate's a woman beater. Any man who's actually a G, who's been around a little bit, would look at the video and go, man, she wants that shit.
Yeah, the crying really gave it away. The uncomfortable, unpleasant body language of the woman in that video, which unfortunately I can't show on YouTube, really gave it away that she loved it, Tate. And you're right, maybe we don't understand because we're not a G. even mean? Is that like a gangster sort of thing? I don't know.
She likes it. A little bit of spanking. Little bit, yeah, you know, it's normal, right?
Gonna get a fly girl, gonna get some spanking.
But if you're a dude who never gets laid,
Both. They are both terrible in their own right.
so they can't fathom it. So really, this is not even an IQ test. This is a test of how good you are with chicks.
Andrew
So it's not
Tate.
really an explanation, for it.
Andrew
The
Tate
fan base seem to think that this
is an
is
abuser
up
who
to
also
that.
sex traffics the women,
Up for it.
which has been proven multiple times. Twitch, please do not fucking snipe my ass. While Malbeth is a racist piece of shit, who doesn't understand boundaries and doesn't apologize for their shit, and also is slightly a groomer when it comes to the things that they do.
Treating these women. She was crying.
You do not have minors cut themselves for the sake of you.
Like an environment where
That has happened
felt
too
safe
many times.
and there were restrictions in place. When you have to hide yourself in the toilet because you know what's coming, whether you're you think you're into it or not, this is not okay. This is not okay behavior. This is not the behavior of a G. This is not the behavior of a man. And with everything else coming out and his words, which we'll get more and more into in this video, it's very, very apparent to me, and he doesn't deny it. He gets off on hurting women, making them feel vulnerable, dominating them, and letting them in their place. And that's really what's led Andrew to the top of the internet, where he's been searched more than people like Taylor Swift. His comments and misogynistic views have been met with obvious anger and frustration, but surprisingly, a lot of men and women have agreed with a lot of his views. Now, I will say this. For the people saying that, oh, Andrew actually makes a lot of points I agree with, though. Oh, okay. Wipe the slate clean. Let's forget about it all, shall we? Because he said a few good things and some things that I agree with. Do you know who else did that? Hitler.
God damn it.
Hitler gave great advice
pyramid
to people
scammer.
in his lifetime.
Yeah,
Killed millions of people.
Yep.
though. In life, you have to weigh up a person.
There we go.
Even
Sorry,
the
that was
evil,
bothering me.
Corrupt people have a good side. Some of them might even have a good sense of humor. But when you weigh it up, it counters. You know, you have to judge a person by their actions, and sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper and really think about what someone's saying.
I have like the
and what
last
those
minute things I
words
need to back up,
mean
so everything
behind
looks
it
like a fucking
before you can
mess.
say, it's okay because they said a good thing yesterday.
No,
Say that shit. I
it
don't
doesn't
get it.
matter.
Let's dive a little deeper. The control over women has been the subject of hot debate, and it really came from one of the most popular clips, and admittedly it was one of the first clips I saw on TikTok of Andrew, was him stating that he was entitled to a OnlyFans models if they were his girlfriend. He would be entitled to a percentage of their
No,
money,
the
if not
fuck you are not.
pretty much all of it.
You say a lot of stuff about women like that they're your property.
That's not what I said. I was talking about an OnlyFans company when that question was asked. But I said that if a woman is going out with a man, she belongs to that man. That's his woman. So she
He
must
looks
be
like a
worth it.
thumb.
She owes him some money because she's his.
Well, that's crazy.
She is his girl
But what's that have to do with anything?
because she's his.
So that is you saying that women are your property.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him, and the intimate parts of her body belong to him.
God, you are an
If he
insecure
wants to sell
man-child.
those, he has a stake in those intimate parts of her body.
So it's
You are
reverse. Male porn star owes the woman.
I don't know because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman's
Yeah,
given
that's
over.
inherently where you get called sexist.
So regardless of how Andrew...
No, let him continue. It gets
the
worse.
fact that he believes that if the positions were reversed, if a man was to be making money from his body, a woman gets nothing. I've heard other interviews of Andrew stating that in marriage, a woman, her father, hands them off its tradition and is given to the man. This is very true in a lot of religious ceremonies, and most weddings, the father gives their daughter away. This is not a contractual agreement. You are not purchasing the woman. She is not given away to serve you. Dad's walking his daughter up the aisle.
When Nix's brother got married,
spiritual meaning behind it. Fact that
his
Andrew
wife,
has
she didn't get walked down by her father.
belong to him.
She got
is
walked by
crazy.
down someone else in her
But
family. I
also,
don't know
we're
who.
Still going through this in government today. You know, men who have this ideology, much like Andrew, are the same men that passed rights taken away from women on abortion rights. We're not going to get into that one today. That's another issue. But it's the same mentality.
Say the truth.
Which is?
Women can't fight.
Yes, we can.
Men are stronger. Like, more true things. I think another thing I said is and maybe I'll upset the ladies on the podcast. I hope not, but please correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably will.
I said if I were to get on a plane and that plane was to fly into the eye of a hurricane, there was a 50% chance of it crashing.
Yep.
I'd want a male pilot because I think that males are better under stress and under pressure. That's just true. Women are better at other things than men, and I'll sit here and say women are.
In him.
If he says women are better at like doing like raising children, I'm going to leave. I will take a 5-minute fucking break.
Most men are larger in frame and stronger in muscle. Biologically, no one's an idiot. Everyone knows that's true, but that is where
Rhea Ripley could kick his ass and I would watch.
that's correct. But
I don't even think that's how you say her name correctly, but she's a very hot wrestler.
Men make better pilots. I don't know what statistics there are out there that prove that. Some of the female pilots I've met at like air shows and stuff, they're some of the best pilots in the world. And as a combatant, as a decorated athlete in martial arts, for him to say that women can't fight is crazy to me. You've only got to like watch UFC and watch the women's division, and in most cases they're fully capable of taking down a man much bigger and stronger than them. So this is horseshit. This is all horseshit.
Are better at X, but I will say that men are better at Y. I'm not going to sit and pretend that we're all the same. We're not. Under pressure, when your life is on the line, anyone who's honest would want a male pilot in said situation. You would not.
I would just want to fucking live. I don't give a shit what gender my pilot is. If I'm in a situation, I just want to live.
And I've met a lot of women that he sort of seems to describe. Women that are like really emotional, very materialistic. Sometimes when Tate is making a good valid point, he'll have to interject a jab. You know, he'll have to get a jab in there against women and just bring them down a notch. And that's evidence in other interviews he's done.
9 months.
If you're not gonna,
Sorry,
my headphones fell off. If you're not gonna have, if you're not gonna have children, what are you gonna do with your lives?
If I'm not gonna have children, travel, just pursue anything that makes me happy, try to make money. I love traveling, so I would probably just
drink cocktails on the beach. Okay, next.
There it is. That's his argument.
No.
He takes his experience with the girls that he attracts and he just offloads that on the entire gender.
Yeah, because
we need to stop.
I don't think I've talked about this, but I don't want children personally. It's just not one of those things I've ever had in mind.
Hitting everyone who's innocent with the same shovel because they're the same gender as the person who hurt you.
And that also like relates to the fact that like I'm ace, like I have no like I have like no
Andrew is a very materialistic
interest
man,
in having
and
sex with
I don't think
people.
He tries to hide that. I think if me and him were talking right now, he'd say absolutely, I am a materialistic man. He raves about Bugattis and fast cars.
I just generally just want to have a life where it's like I don't have children are fucking annoying. It's debatable. Like,
lifestyle.
I think it's just because like the shit that I've experienced growing up and like how I was raised that I'm more afraid of raising my kids the same way. Because slightly traumatized by my parents.
You will attract a girl who is also wanting just the money, who also just wants.
So it's like seeing how I was raised. It's like, do I really want to bring into the kid this world that like I know I'm not mentally. I am not mentally prepared, and I don't think I ever will be mentally prepared to handle a world, and it's like, what if I become my parents?
One of the most wonderful human beings on this planet. And I know so many other women who are just not...
And I know that's with a bunch of other people I know. They're like, yeah, I don't want to have kids. And before you say, like, oh, adopting, it's like... I just generally just do not want to... I do not trust myself to take care of a human being.
All these women that all they care about is fame and standing on a yacht, and there are women out there like this, as there are men, just because that's all he knows. And of course that's all he knows. He's material. He's attracting material girls. Girls with common sense don't go near him. So of course he doesn't know the other side.
About the same thing, like travel, focus on my career, things like that. Like my career will become my baby.
What about you?
I honestly just want to get right into my career.
So a bunch of
Notice how he's in a room filled with women.
Not to have children, which is we're not in the 1940s anymore. It's not expected for women to just have kids, stay at home and bake fucking bread. I thought we were past this ideology. So that's a very fair answer. Andrew's asked, what do you guys want to do if you guys didn't want to have kids? They've given very reasonable answers, which most men also would not want kids for the same reasons. What's his response? Oh.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Would-
Well, I plan on becoming a doctor. So I'm just my career.
Go do it. Go do it. It's your life, you know? Damn right.
A life without children is vacuous, and it's inane, and it's pointless. And you may sit here and think that your career matters, but the truth is,
Matters. Cornwall now.
Fucking sucks
Matters.
that Andrew won't go to jail
Boy,
because he
Andrew
pays
Tate,
off the
he needs
police.
a Bugatti tractor.
your job will fire you out of whim and not give a second. Don't give a soul.
Especially where he
52
takes the
and
women.
you're
Like,
past it,
yeah,
with
the
no
police system is
grandchildren,
slightly corrupted
in a house
more.
by yourself, and all your friends have grandchildren.
What is this anger? Why?
But yeah, where he,
It's like he has to
I don't
tell
know
them,
exactly where he takes
no,
women, but
this
it's
is
fucked.
a very unhealthy man with a very unhealthy addiction to the domination of women. I'm telling you.
This beautiful life, and you're sitting there by yourself. Do you think the fact that you can afford a few extra Gucci bags is going to genuinely make you feel happy?
See,
I don't
again,
care for all that
there's
fancy
the
stuff,
jab.
my guy.
You're not gonna have kids just because you want Gucci bags. Not all these women are just. One of them just said she wants to be a doctor and save lives. These women have goals, and you're still treating them like they're just some basic young 19 LA chick who just is obsessed with Chanel. That is not all women. And of course, this is Andrew's advice. Of course, this is his experience.
Yeah, because I like the first woman said she wants to travel. I want to travel.
Said publicly, he
Has also said that he prefers to date girls that are
Oh,
18
God.
or 19 so he can make an imprint on them.
He prefers to date 18, 19-year-old.
So people who are fresh out of high school or in
Yeah,
college.
no wonder your girlfriends, all they're interested in is getting their nails done and handbags and going out and partying. Because they're young. This is why it seems alien to us guys and older women what you're saying about all women. It's not because we're virgins or can't get laid. It's because we're dating real
I think this
women.
is grooming, right?
You're dating kids that are still
I think so.
developing.
Yeah.
So of course your knowledge on women is primitive. Of course all girls in your eyes only care about getting their nails done. You haven't dated a real woman. And do you know why? Because when they
Technically,
get a
yes,
little bit
technically
older
no,
than
because they
18,
are
they're
technically
not, and They're a
adults.
bit more mature. Most women wouldn't go near you if you were made of
But at the
gold,
same
Tate.
time, you
And if
can
they
say
do
it since
decide
they
to make the
are
terrible mistake of getting with you, they realize I don't want to be a slave. I actually
technically.
like
I think
my
that falls in
life."
like the gray area.
Or, with my knowledge, they get you arrested.
Yeah, because
Dating
they
real
they
women
can claim that they are a
first
legal
before
adult.
You start spewing all this trash everywhere. Not only
But
that,
also,
it's
different
just
countries
attitudes,
have
because you
different
look like
age of consent
someone
laws.
handed
Which
a
if
gym
anyone says
membership to a
Tokyo is
minion.
13, you're fucking wrong. It depends on the district. It's morally fucked. That's all I know. Yes.
Does look like a minion. Yeah. Let's make that
like a
trend.
minion.
Andrew Minion. The same as not all men are muscle-bound dickheads that only believe that who they can beat up and how much money they can make and how many girls they've had in a jacuzzi makes them a man. What makes people a man is just treating people with fucking respect. Bald-headed, Mr. Potato looking fucking like a dildo. I'm sorry, Andrew, you look like a dildo. And I couldn't give
Oh
a
my
shit.
God.
I couldn't give a shit how big and tough you are. Do you want to know something that I've been getting from actual fans of mine as well? Andrew could beat you in a fight, Daz. Why are you bothering? The fact that people out there, young boys and men, even still today, are coming at me saying you
It's
can't
sad
beat me in a
because
fight. And do you wanna know
I went on
something? Do you wanna know
Twitter
what a lot
and a
of men
mom was
won't
saying
admit?
her
And again,
son,
to me, this is being a real
like, ended up watching some of Andrew Tate's stuff. And he's 10 years old and he was just being a general dick to his sister and like her friends. And it's sad seeing like, again, welcome to, your kids definitely should have like some restricted internet access, but it's, at the same time, it's generally fucked.
Very likely would win in a fight against me, if that makes you happy. Doesn't mean I'm scared of the guy. Doesn't mean that should take anything away from this video. Say we did fight. Say we got in there and we beat the shit out of each other. Then what? It doesn't matter who would win the fight. He's still a prick. I'm still me. Nothing changes. We've just discovered who's a better fighter. And that's one of the ideologies.
Let me just scoot this more. Okay, there we go.
And how men should be.
A mom on Twitter said that her 10-year-old son ended up watching some of Andrew's Tate and was just being a dick to all the women in his life, and it's like, I'm not saying that, like, yeah, you should restrict your children very hard, but it's like, can you at least watch what your children are watching? So they're not following a dick like this man?
Must be tough. are a provider. Gotta sleep with as many women as possible to be a G. Still don't know what a G is. The fact that men still go around and are scared. They're scared to admit that they can be beat in a fight. They're scared and gotta prove how tough you are. Why? It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be down. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay if you are in a relationship and your partner who is a female earns more than you. Who gives a shit? If you could just strive for happiness and be a happy man and treat those around you how you want to be treated. I guarantee you, Andrew does not want to be on the bed, vulnerable, being beaten the shit out of by a group of women. He'd never allow it. He wouldn't allow a woman to cheat. Quite right, we'd all agree with that. I agree with that. But a man can cheat, according to Tate. But don't worry, the first thing he said made sense, so I'm
It's
going to
kind of people that think Andrew's a good person, the type who think Alvin's
The
baby just...
happiest women on earth have children
humans
and a
say.
man who's
Yep.
paying the bills and their mothers. The happiest people on earth. I guarantee it. Your mothers. Ask your own mother. Do you regret having me? She's gonna say, of course not.
Obviously
You're the
not.
best thing that ever happened to me. So now you're gonna sit here and you're gonna end your own bloodline?
Yes.
All medical care, and you can live in a nice warm house for your fucking selfish ass to say, no, I don't want kids. I'm too busy in the fucking strip club or going to fucking Mallorca to have a pina colada on the beach. It's absolutely insulting to your entire bloodline. Everything everyone above you has ever done and struggled for. All the times your grandparents went to work when they didn't feel like it, just for you to exist. For your selfish ass to say no. Me and my passions and my dreams and my shit drawings and my Instagram page is worth more than ever having children.
It's just any point.
Fun fact, I'm the only female presenting person in my family with my last name. Hope Andrew gets fucked by a cactus in hell. Oh yeah, no. All my cousins are either married or have different last names. I'm the last one with like my last name. And I make this joke all the time. It's either I'm dying with my last name or I'm getting married and I'm taking my partner's name.
I'm not surprised. Why am I surprised? It's just another video of another man telling women what to do with their own bodies and their own life.
Almost a singer hoodie.
As far up as the fucking governments that run this world, we are still.
My hands feel weird, so I'm getting hand sanitizer.
What they should do with their bodies. No one has the right to tell me what to do with my body.
My
Unless
idea.
you're a doctor
Hand
and you're
sanitize.
advising
I bought this.
Wait, or I change my lifestyle because it's for the better of me. No one has an entire generation of women. You're selfish because you want a career. Andrew Tate has already said that women can't fight. If he hasn't watched UFC, if he hasn't watched women's kickboxing, he hasn't seen the fucking Olympics, he must be blind. But let me tell you something, Andrew. Women can not only fight with their fists, women have been fighting for centuries just for the rights to exist.
Can't believe there's a
Whilst
happy
you're out
group
there
about to be damned.
fighting for some belt no one gives a shit about, women have been fighting for the rights to vote, rights to do what they want to their bodies. There are still places in the world where women can't enter a kitchen if they're on their periods. There's a lot of work to be done, and it's men like this that hold shit back. Not just because this ideology and this ego and this toxic masculinity, which
Where
is
the fuck did that land? I saw a piece of cat hair go across my camera.
We're a dying breed, Andrew, and I will not have my daughter grow up in a world where the internet is pasted with your shit opinion on women. We're meant to be moving forwards. How can we move forwards when our future men, that could be gentlemen, that could be decent, just guys that don't care, guys that can fucking cry and not be judged, guys like you breed more hate. People are paying this man for his advice on how to start a successful company. Women have been fighting for years just for basic rights. Don't tell me women can't fight.
So welcome to my bedroom. Aren't you lucky? Only you and every hot chick in the world gets to see this room.
She's probably handcuffed under the bed. No, I know. I'm not even going to touch upon the human sex trafficking, stuff like that. Unfortunately, I can't prove any of that, and it's been investigated, and Andrew has already come forward and stated that this woman was arguing, jealous, whatever, and then she texted her boyfriend and he called the police, whatever. I don't know. Let's see how much logic he can juice out of us in this video.
A lot of people ask me, Andrew, why do you have a machete next to your bed? And my answer is simple. Why wouldn't I have a machete next to my bed? Why don't you have a machete next to your bed? Like, what if someone gets in the house, gets fresh? So yeah, someone knocks on my door in the middle of the night. I have to go answer the door, just instantly pick up my machete.
Yeah. That says a lot, doesn't it? It's like he's hiding from something. It's like he's compensating.
So
Probably
fucking
just
huge.
a postman. If you have to go to the
I
front door,
don't know, but he
you
looks
feel
like
you need a
Mr.
machete
Potato Head
every
ass.
single time you go to the front door, you've done some bad shit. You're worried about something. I go to my front door, sometimes I'm still brushing my teeth. It's a fucking postwoman.
Any room I'm in my house, I can produce a weapon. And if you can't do the same thing, you need to think long and hard about why you're such a little pussy. So some dude, some little pussy ass dude.
So
I have a knife.
Inspired many people to say that
I have
Andrew's
2
trolling
knives, technically, on my desk.
entire thing from the
I do
beginning
not have these here, and I do not take them out of my room, except for one of my knives I'm taking with me.
like, and we can see it going way back in interviews.
But the only reason these are on my desk...
So his island survival days when he took part in
Knife collection pog.
reality shows.
Yeah.
You can see this mentality has always been there from a very young age. And to answer those people that if it is a character,
This is
all
Stabby
these things
Stabby.
saying about women,
I'm kidding. I
in
actually
this
don't name.
video, all
I
the other
don't.
videos, is if it's just a character.
I don't name my
Doesn't
knives.
matter.
But I do not keep these in here just in case I need to, like, defend myself. That is, like, the least of my worries. It's because I have, like, boxes in here. I have mail that I use these for. And also just because I like fucking knives.
Wrong. If it's fake or if it's real. I remember I once reacted to a YouTuber.
I was very scared I just leaked information.
That he was not only sleeping with his sister,
Ayo?
but that she was also 13 years old.
What?
It turns out that she was one of his friends. They weren't sleeping together, and she was 19 or something. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's it's just for views." And that YouTuber reacted back to me and talked to me at a
Switchblade
convention
sounds are the
saying
best.
how you were talking bare shit about me.
V
I
has
said
literally
exactly
almost
what I
sent me a
saw.
switchblade, but I
Made a
told him no
video
because this one I like the best.
pretending you were sleeping
My
with
hands
your
are sweaty.
underage sister. That's pedophilia.
Sorry,
and
Techno.
incest.
No, Technoblade would
Even
approve me
if it's
using
fake, which it
the hoodie.
was, doesn't take away from the disturbing nature of the act.
This knife
Just
is coming
'cause
with me.
someone says
I'm putting it in my
something good and
suitcase.
Positive, okay, doesn't take away from the fact that they're an asshole. Andrew Tate donates to charity. So did Jimmy Savile. He should have moved to Romania too. He would have got away with a lot more.
Dude once said to me, yeah, but if it's next to your bed, what if you like upset a girl and she catches you cheating and gets a machete? Bro, there's no female alive,
Can love go too?
even with a machete.
No, because 1, my roommate has a cat, and 2, if I take Sushi, Gucci will lose his shit because he has social separation, and like me and Sushi are like the only 2 that can calm him down.
Okay, anyone, and again, this is coming from someone who's a decorated athlete in combat sport. If a woman or a man, anyone, comes at you with a machete like that, it's not like the movies. You run. You don't try and disarm them and chop them. You're going to get hurt. Someone swinging and wielding a machete, you're not going to be able to stop them. And guys like this that think there's some sort of gods, no one can beat them. I just know so many guys like this, and it frustrates me because their ego is so out of whack that it's like they're not based in reality. You're going to get hurt.
Gucci is smaller and has wider eyes and has a lot more like smaller coat. Sushi is poofy, has tiny eyes, and his like face is darker. Also, his eyes are normally like squinted.
You obviously have never watched an Israeli military training video with women. The whole ideology that women are just completely incapable of any form of combat at all is so...
Motherfucker, I know how to shoot a gun.
He can't handle that women could whoop his ass. He can't handle that there are strong women out there.
Ooh, I'm scared. This class was really loose.
This man is afraid of
which is
something.
scary.
This man has to be powerful. And this is how he does it.
Bang out the machete, boom in her face, and grip her up by the neck.
That's assault.
Bitch. Machete's on the floor, her panties are all wet. You go, fuck her. That's how it goes. Slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex.
Yeah, all women want that, Tate. Jesus Christ.
They should be
Every
getting
real
out the
G
roommate's
knows these
cat.
basic moves. These are the basic moves
We
of
will
pimping.
see.
Fucking some little amateur. What if a girl picks it up? You're a fucking loser.
Whenever I do like meet and greets and stuff, or I recently went to a school prom, and a lot of the kids came up to me, and you could tell where their mindset was in this day and age. It's very concerning. Oh, well, all the likes you get, all the views you get. Ah, are you a millionaire, Daz? Ah, what car do you have, Daz? Andrew Tate has all these Bugattis and, you know, branded clothing and lives a very luxurious lifestyle. And he's out here saying that's what you have to do to be a G. That's what you have to do to be a man. You have to choke them and slap them and put them in their place, even when they're coming at you with a machete. And then they're going to like it and just fall in love with you.
Well, we see. It's up to my roommate.
Young
Cause she already knows I'm a streamer.
Can't escape it.
But also, my room is set where we have another 2 people on the other side of us, so I'll have to be like, see how they act.
This image of Andrew. Just like me when I was.
Because I don't know who's living next to
warning
us.
Signs on the beginning of wrestling. Don't try this at home. Fucking tried it at home. You know, it's no different now. And his words and his influence are reaching far, far and wide. More
Oof.
than people like.
They're upperclassmen, because the floor we're living on is upperclassmen.
Many times. And parents just aren't aware of exactly what they're saying and how kids look at his lifestyle and think, so to be like Andrew and drive that Bugatti, because that's what's
What?
important. and
Wait,
that's gonna
huh?
make
What?
you
Huh?
happy. You've gotta
Wait,
slap
what?
A few hoes. That's as simple as it gets, folks. That is the world we're living in. Influence. That's why we're called influence.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me.
Because it makes it look like puppet masters. But I can't ignore the fact that young people watching us are influenced by our actions. I grew up in the Vine era. I rose through the Vine era. I saw worrying challenges as they escalated. People setting themselves
Everything
on
okay?
fire and trying to
I got a notification that was like, it said like the person, they were going live on Twitch, it's like, this will be deleted soon. But I didn't see the video title, so I was like, wait, are you leaving Twitch? Please no.
Genuinely believes in what he's saying is right. Young boys are gonna attempt to behave like him.
God damn.
They're gonna go to a
Shit.
young
Oh,
girl at school, and they're gonna.
That's not
try
important. I was like, why is my business
and that's
Instagram
gonna
going
imprint
crazy?
on her. And you still think this guy is a G. You still think that it's okay to support this behavior.
While we're on the subject of how weak females are,
Jesus Christ.
women can't fight. You're not designed to fight. You're incapable of fighting, and you're incapable of handling genuine violence. Every single time I see a clip of some chick in some self-defense fight bullshit, it annoys me because they always underestimate.
Motherfucker, I was jumped before and I got out with literally just a broken nose and a bruised rib.
You knee him
The
in
other 2 guys literally went to the
run
hospital.
away. You knee me in my balls, all I'm gonna do is get pissed off.
You get kneed in the balls. Okay, I've heard so many dicks say this. Okay, if you knee a man in the balls, in the right place, we go down.
Yeah, I got jumped one time when I was leaving a friend's workplace.
Can't even produce babies anymore because you get constantly kicked. So you lose all feeling.
2 or 3 guys jumped me for, I'm not gonna go into details, but 2 of them ended up in the hospital after I was done, and I just walked out with a bruised rib and a broken nose.
Weight difference. That's a big deal difference.
Yeah, in fighting there are weight classes, and you know women.
I don't know what happened to their guy because by the time I was getting to him, someone else came.
Understand that in terms of physicality, often or not, men are usually bigger, taller. You know,
God, you're okay.
That does not make them
Yeah.
better because we have a physical advantage. It doesn't mean he'd win in a race against a female runner. She could whoop his ass. She'd be faster. Doesn't really mean that he can beat every single woman on the planet in combat. Like, there are women out there who are probably taller and bigger than him. Believe it or
I love
not.
how we're just getting into like, yes, would you like to welcome my trauma?
Stronger men. What are you trying to prove? What does that mean at the end of the day? We have different fight classes and weight classes in fighting for a reason. It's to keep things fair.
Also, I've dislocated both of my knees. Like, I've dislocated both of my kneecaps. And the first one I did it, I went to the hospital because I did it out in public. But like the second time I did it, I like popped it back into place. I didn't cry. So hi, welcome to do not piss off a woman.
Both mentally and physically. Such a stupid argument.
Strength. I will pick you up with one hand by your titty. Body slam your ass. When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me trying to resist, and I just and then I grab you by your neck again. Then what the fuck are you gonna do when your face is collapsed and your fucking cheekbone's broken? You ain't gonna do shit but cry. You're gonna fucking cry your eyes out. Females can't fight. If you're
So what's the advice then, Andrew? What should women do when they live in a world of men like you? What is their only option?
a woman and you're going to any kind of self-defense class,
How are y'all breaking
because all
bones?
that's doing is giving you false confidence bullshit. And next time you're in a situation when you need to run, you're going to start thinking, I know what to do. You're not fucking Steven Seagal. You're a hoe.
Scream and run. Okay?
I will always be able to whoop your ass. And any man who's relatively capable as a man will always be able to whoop your ass, rape you, strangle you, kill you, anything he wants to do. Your only hope as a female is to scream and run. Self-defense classes give false hope to dumb hoes. They should all be outlawed.
Well, there you go, ladies. It's hopeless. You are going to be attacked. You are going to be raped.
How'd you dislocate your knee?
Fall victim.
The first time I did it, I was in a public space, and I was in a pool, and I was doing previous things. I was out in the sun all day, but when I went into this pool, I got knocked into the wall, and my knee just went.
Women want to go out there and learn to fight.
And then literally a couple months later, my other knee dislocated just because I was working on a dance routine, and my legs just kind of went like this, so my kneecap was like, all right, no.
Often treats them like they're just silly little teenage girls.
That sounds painful.
To women like
The
that.
first time I did it, it hurt because it scared me more than anything because I was in a. Because again,
It's fine. You know, like, if you ever...
I'm
once you're
usually
18,
I'm taller than
you
like
wanna get
some
yourself a
pool
real man.
areas, and this was like the not the shallow, not the deep end, so I should have been able to stand up. But it was the
it's a
fact
long
that I
story. I
could
can't
not
tell you
move my
exactly who,
knee
because it's
because the way
backwards
my
backwards
knee
on
was,
the
it was bent.
Yo, there's no fucking way you just said that. No,
So I could not move my
you
knee,
that.
and I
The
was
fact that
so
you fucking
scared.
said
I
that
was
is fucking
panicking. But the
crazy.
second time I did it, I was like, all right.
Saying that as soon as you're legal, honey, come to me.
The first time it scared the shit out of me. The second time I did it myself.
Comments that Andrew has made.
But that is also when we realized that my body does not react well to like
Only
pain
should women clean
relieving
up. Women
or
should
like
clean
the
up
oh that sounds
front.
gruesome.
I will not administer CPR unless you're a hot female.
What
if
the
I have
fuck?
responsibility over her, then I must have a degree of authority. For the same reason, if I have responsibility
but yeah,
over her,
no.
and everyone's going to lose their mind. It's an example. It's only an analogy. If I have responsibility over a child, I have to.
What
have
the
some
fuck was I
authority.
gonna say?
You
My brain
cannot be
actually turned
responsible
off.
For something that doesn't listen to you. You can't be responsible for a dog if it doesn't obey you.
Just a few little other nuggets to throw in there. He's also said and stated online that he likes to date 18 or 19-year-old girls so he can imprint on
Did I say
them.
something
What
wrong, or was
originally
Andrew Tate being a
caused
bitch?
Tate to lose his Twitter account back in the day was
I honestly can't remember. ADHD just acted up. But also, yeah, Andrew Tate just being a bitch.
everything else away. Everything he's ever said that's correct, everything that he's ever said that is just awful. This alone, one of his tweets back in the day that got his Twitter account removed was that he said females that fall victim to rape should bear some of the responsibility for those actions being taken against them. What I assume he's trying to say is that they either
What if they're
dressed
children?
in a very revealing way, they behaved a certain way.
What if they
let
are
it go on and
children?
change their mind. All this toxic shit that I
Currently
hear
suffering
guys say. Oh, she's a cock teaser. Gentlemen, young boys growing up, I want you to listen to me and listen good. If a woman comes onto you and changes her mind, that's fine. Let her leave. Get over it and find someone else who does want to sleep with you. If a woman is dressed provocatively, if she's chosen to show cleavage, if she shows up to a nightclub fucking naked, keep your hands to yourself. No woman chooses an outfit and goes out and thinks, I want to be sexually assaulted. I want to be groped. I hope... Yeah, you might dress and think, guys do it. oh, I might look nice tonight. I might, the ladies might look at me. That's fine. You want a bit of attention, that's fine. But the reason I don't go to nightclubs is because of dicks like him. I see it time and time again. There's nothing wrong with approaching a lady at a club, offering to buy a drink, getting to know her.
It's been really well. I woke up incredibly early because Gucci was meowing at something, and then I ran into my mom because I realized it is not 10 a.m., which is when I usually wake up. It is 7. But also, I had a really bad sleep last night. I could not stay asleep. But then I woke up, had a small conversation with my mom, grabbed a sushi, and then went back to sleep.
Being a man is not how successfully you hit on a girl. Being a man, what does that even mean? Just be yourself and be respectful. The whole phrase, be a man, is something that should never be said to a young boy.
I'm gonna say this, if Andrew Tate wants the societal of women where women are at home just cooking and like taking care of your children, you better be working a 9-to-5 job and serving in the military. If we're gonna go back to those eras, go do that.
Don't be vulnerable, don't show any signs of emotion. Look, if you want to be a borderline rapist that talks to underage girls on the internet like that, and his philosophy on life is women aren't shit, and end up on your massive yacht, rich and alone, fine.
What'd you get? Food.
Go do it. One
What'd
thing,
you get for food? I went out with I went out with my parents, V, Ray, and Atlas.
Obey blindly.
And we went to a hibachi restaurant nearby.
Good question. The best female I could possibly meet is a female who comes to me and says, I look at your life and look at what you've done, and I respect your achievements to the point where
because I knew my mom wasn't gonna get hibachi is good. I'm a regular at this restaurant, so they know what I like, but like their soup, oh my god,
you can get on and off the train, but the track is laid.
Which is why we make the joke of good soup.
And you can do nothing but enjoy the ride or fuck off.
The one thing with all the corresponding behavior that I've seen that stands out there is obey blindly. Tate needs to date a corpse. His whole philosophy towards women is dangerous. And I really can't prove it, but I really feel that this is the surface we're seeing. This is the very surface. And we're seeing cracks. His mouth is big, and he tries to cover it up with donating to charities. Recently today on his Instagram, he posted he was going to donate to a women's charity of abuse victims. I don't buy it, Tate. I don't buy it. I believe you moved to Romania because of the reasons you said you moved there. And I quote, I'm not a rapist, but I like the idea
for Wayward's
that
boyfriend.
I can get away with anything.
I don't know. It's funny because he came down. He came down.
I know you have like businesses and
for
things
I think for a month, which is how me and Atlas met him before. And I'm going to admit he's attractive, but he's not my type.
You moved from England because there were allegations and you were being arrested on suspicion of rape. I know that to be a fact, Andrew. This man and his behavior.
But yesterday we were in a Discord call. I was like half asleep. But yeah, Ray, V, Nix, and I were all in a Discord call. They had their cameras on, and he came in, and he usually doesn't.
This man
in tweets entirely. You liked one of Ray's tweet.
And that aside, all that shit that you can say meh about the stuff.
Did I? It's yeah, you did.
Literally said the stuff that
I think it's one of the very first tweets.
Say, the way we have physically with our own eyes seen him treat women, we are not stupid. I believe, it is my personal opinion, that he has moved to Romania so he can get away with a lot of the dark.
You like 2 of her tweets. You like the Twitter said no, can't share the information. We have more chaos plans, and this is just a shit show.
And your donations to charity and your panicky behavior, because you've blown up on the internet and everything you've said has come to light, and you're now being investigated.
Those are the only 2, but I also think those are the only 2 Ray tweets.
Stopped. Your dangerous philosophies need to be stopped. I don't give a shit how powerful you are. I don't give a shit how much money you have. I don't care.
No, we are not adding him. We only met the fucker for 5 minutes.
Where no one gives a shit. And
gotta go find them in the like pics. They're the very first 2 Ray tweets. One of them's a comment, one of them's the very first tweet on that account.
How are you going to crush yourself? By running your mouth. Let's put everything else
Can I put you on the
aside
mic stand?
that we think about him, and let's just put on the table for now what we've seen and what we know. That's enough. That's enough. Like I say, shrink it down to that one tweet about how rape victims need to bear some responsibility for them being raped. I don't care how young you are. I don't care what gender you are. If you're a human, any support going to someone who is capable of thinking like that. With what women are saying, and I can't go into too much detail, what women are saying to me, coming forward with evidence, are saying to me.
Also, if you're in my Discord, because I just remember this, 2 of the channels are being edited.
To me, that just screams of a
It's
man
mostly just the
who
boundaries and info, because we're putting all of the members of the Straightwaters crew on that.
And I've reviewed many pigs in my time.
Yeah, that's just the only thing. And also, we're adding more things.
I have never had to have phone calls with women, and I can hear it in their voice. This man has been a pig to them. Even the ones I believe, the ones that have come forward and said, "Oh, we're just laughing, that was our relationship," I believe they've just had to say that because they're scared. This is often why a lot of cases don't get resolved or thrown out, because of lack of evidence or their word against theirs. And I understand it. Our justice system for sexual assault needs more work. And all these allegations being brought against him.
Yes. 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 There's a piece of hair around. I see it. But yes.
Work. Because now, imagine if he is the guy that these women are saying he is. I can't prove it, but imagine he is. And then you're trying to live your life, and then all of a sudden you cannot get rid of the image of this man. He's everywhere now, and we're putting him there. And even to some degree, I know this video is giving him more attention, but I'm not doing it the way other YouTubers have reacted to him, laughing at him, passing it off. I cannot understand that we still live in a society where we cannot see why this man is disturbed, why the things he is saying, real or not, is besides the point. Whether he can kick my ass or not is besides the point. Whether he's richer than me is besides the fucking point. This is not how you behave. It's not how you treat people. And I don't know how many more women are going to contact me. I don't know how many more
Unlike, thank you. No problem.
accusations are going to be made. But all I know is, and if Tate's got nothing to hide,
Yeah, no. Back on Wayward's partner. It was very interesting seeing how like everyone's reacted to him, because we've only heard about him. And like we've never seen him. Like we've heard his voice before. Like he's been on phone calls. Like he said like oh hello to some of us before. But seeing Ray's and V's reaction was more of the hello, who are you? But yeah, no. It's not a joke when we say that this man is like the slightly IRL version of Albedo from Genshin Impact. Cause he looks like him, and then he's also a chemistry and fine arts like studies. He's studying in those fields, and it's very funny. It's like, all right, what the fuck? Who are you? Why are you alive?
that these women coming forward might hold some truth. I have other clips.
Kind of.
I have clips of him on train.
He is
insulting to a lady. I don't know you, Tate, and I don't want to know you. All I can do is review footage.
He does. Like I'm gonna be the first to say that he does.
Everything else, I hope that it all comes to light and we find out the truth about you. Those saying, what is Daz gonna do? For all the Andrew Tate fans coming at me saying, what's this fat little YouTube gonna do? This isn't just saying some...
What is he gonna do? He's gonna get him banned off of Instagram and Facebook.
Leaving your keys in the car. Oh, little mistake. This is just years of destructive and abusive behavior.
Oh god, I typed in Andrew and he was the first thing to fucking pop up.
What am I gonna do? I'm gonna listen to those people. And I am gonna give them a platform to come forward. Because that's what being human's about. I don't have to know you to listen to you. I don't have to know Tate to know that this is wrong. This is all wrong. It's not funny, it's not a meme, it's not worthy of a diss track. This is real. This is a man saying and doing these things, and people are giving him a microphone and airtime to do it. whilst paying into his business to learn how to be a
You
G.
son of a bitch,
I don't
no.
wanna watch anymore. I'll leave it at this. Young boys and teenage men watching this, be a man should never have existed. It should never have been taught to us. Just be a good human. Yeah? Like, don't believe that you're gonna be happy getting bitches, all this shit that you see, all this stuff that we're fed as young men in rap videos, women filled with jacuzzis and throwing themselves at us, and it's not about that's
Hey Andrew Tate, how do you feel about your sister knowing about this stuff?
Be a good person and just respect other.
I've been popping my neck like crazy.
Ladies watching this,
I got acupuncture recently.
was for you, and I'm tired of men not putting their foot down on other men and their ideologies about how you should run your lives, your bodies, your minds, and that you ain't worth shit. I'm tired.
What's
of seeing
acupuncture?
people have to
They put a little needle on like, I don't know how to explain it.
has impacted
If you go to like a chiropractor, they would put like very tiny needles like in certain areas to relieve pressure in the muscle.
This video's a success. And ladies, this one's for you. Guys, thank you so much for watching this
Alright.
video. It's been an eye-opener.
What the what is wrong with the world? Basically, they're just like sticking a little needle in to receive like tension in the muscles. Again, I know I said I was gonna do Minecraft, but me and Ray were bitching about Genshin Impact earlier. And so yeah. Oh god. Never love somebody's daughter. Alright, we're gonna wait for that to open for a little bit. Sounds painful. It's actually not. It doesn't go incredibly deep into the skin. It is literally just like 1 to 2 inches. It's like you're being poked with something sharp. And sometimes you don't feel it. Like, it's just like... Again, we're waiting for Genshin to come on, but I'm gonna turn this off because... Somehow my OBS is full screen and it's like stuck to my dock. So I cannot like see. Oh, there we go. I fixed it. There we go. Never mind. There we go. Yeah, acupuncture is not painful. Everything is fixed. I fixed my OBS so it's no longer full screened, but give me a second. Everything's gonna go downhill from here because Genshin's opened. There we go. Woo! Fancy. Yeah, stream's starting to lag. Welcome to Genshin. Genshin like messes with my things so fucking badly. I'm late, aren't I? You literally just got to the game events. A clear sign of Genshin's right starts a huge lag spike. Amen! Defeat the opponents in turn. Yeah. Ignore what I was doing. What event? It's one of, it's Hi. It's one of just those random events you get. Where's the rest of them? I hear them. I don't see them. Imagine being under. Hey, yo, what the fuck? There we go. Oh, what's wrong, Hobbit? Hold up, I'm getting on. Nothing! It's just we were having such a nice conversation and then all of a sudden I'm being called short! But yeah, okay. So... I don't know how this was brought up. But I've been talking about recently with a bunch of people on like how... With the state of how Genshin's standard banner is right now, there is going to be a lot of characters that you are not going to be able to level up. It's a very nice conversation. But yeah. I need to fight you later, but oh god. But yeah, with the way how the standard banner is set up, and it's happening now with a lot of the Sumeru characters, you are going to have characters be stuck at level 20 until you get to that nation. And seeing how once Sesnaya happens, you're going to have characters be stuck at level 20 for so long. Because like, oh yeah, sure, you get like the items from like doing their trials and stuff, but that's not enough to level them up completely. Good sir, fuck off. What the fuck is this? Same form. Huh? Son of a bitch. Quick question after I barely if you want, I know a lot of people did. Like after they were done with like the main story, they have an American. Or like they have a alternate. I will get back to what I was saying, because I can actually remember. I think I might do it. I'm not gonna judge. But yeah, if you look at Genshin, how the standard banner is, like, fuck, I will even pull this up. Like, you have all of these 4-star characters, and majority of them combo gober. like Gorosaru, Yunjin, Shinobu. Where is he? And Heizo are all characters that are from well, not Shinobu and Heizo, they have the chasm things, but like Toma, Sayu, Sara, Goru, and Yunjin are all characters that have items that are in Sumeru and boss drops that are in Sumeru that if you obtain them when you are first starting, nice, like when you are first starting out playing for them, like they are going to be stuck at level 20 until you can get to their bosses. Which is so annoying, because seeing how, like, it's gonna happen with Sumeru characters, where it's like, you were going to have to wait so long to get to the nation. And when it comes to Toma's, like, this island is where you get his materials to ascend him, but it is locked behind a fucking quest where you cannot explore past this particular area. So it's called, okay, even if you get, once you get to Inazuma, it's like, well, shit. You gotta spend about how many hours doing a quest? Please fuck off. I don't want to die. So it's either you have your standard banner set different to your AR, where you can only pull for like a certain group of characters. So you're not pulling a fucking character that's gonna be at level 20 forever. Ignore me as I have level 20 characters, but I have everything I need to get them. Do you have Nakiwi? Yes, you do. No, you don't. I've been here already. Yes, I have. There we go. You just snapped on Huntress's player's character. Oh, yeah, I saw. Yes, I did. Fuck Mirror Maidens. I'm sorry, they're one of the few Genshin things I don't like. You are a... I need you for your Mia. I hate video game. She's a good character. Oh, son of a bitch! I spoke too soon. Hold this! No. Eh. My bad. Oh, everything went out. Cool. I got her signature weapon yesterday. I was just pulling just for shits and giggles. Hey, if you could casually just fucking die, that'd be fantastic. Fuck, that's Lee Chow's dish. There we go. I hate when that happens. But yeah, it's called either Genshin limits the standard characters you can get set to AR, or you have it so we can get materials easier. Stabby spear. Shadow Spear, it's not even fully finished. Like, I haven't leveled it up in a while. Also, why are badges not showing on the chat and stream? Reasons. I know why. It's a stream elements thing. Let's see if I can fix that really quickly. Yes, I fucking know I turned on sponsor lip. Shut up. I know. Let's see without a mod badge. It won't pop up in certain... There's like a particular button you have to press. I'm not sure if this is the right one. Here it is. I found it. Just end stream accidentally H. Hi, Ghost Mickey! My friends are bothering me, so maybe like 2 minutes gonna go tell him to go fuck himself. Ayo. Welcome, hi, I'm trying to fix something. I wanna kiss. As always. Yeah, never mind. I know how to fix it. I just cannot find. I know how to fix it, I just can't find it. Throw him through the window. Never mind. I thought I could fix it, but nope. But yeah. Bug brain. I'm not fucking you. I need you. Come here. Big brain moves. I know how to get there. But yeah. Also, haha. Let's talk about Genshin's like blatant colorism. Motherfucker, I have Ray for that. Ray's just like, you want leaks? Here you go. TikTok Genshin leaks I take with a little bit of salt. Because seeing how like often that they are like proven wrong. Or for instance, you have the literal fucking like person that runs the account saying something. Oh, son of a bitch! I hate these things. There is only like 2 instances of, no, there's only 1 instance of a person I know having a perfect track record. Golden Corral is so good. I have never eaten there like, I don't think I've ever eaten there. Fuck you, I hate these motherfuckers. I hate spectrals. Is the reason Ivy was even here? Still here? Yeah. So yeah, I usually take grains with a hint of salt. You haven't eaten? I don't think I have. Either I did when I was really little. But yeah, I cannot recall a time I've eaten at Golden Corral. The item. Yeah. There I think is only like 1 person that Ray like even is like, yeah, no, I trust this person 100% with leaks. But the model that was recently leaked, it is not his playable character. It is his weekly boss. So don't go losing your shit. It is. Don't go lose your shit over being like, oh my god, he's becoming playable. He is becoming playable. Like, he's going under a different name, but that's not what he's gonna look like. Kazuha to the rescue. Have I mentioned my hatred for electric Sealies? Because I'm gonna mention my hatred. I hate you more than Satan him fucking self. But yeah, also take the model with a hint of salt. All this for a fucking common chest. And of course, I have a quest to do for the fucking cat. You haven't mentioned it, I don't think. Hello? Can we get a push to make the Eye of the Storm drop something? I thought he does. Hello, Ayaka mains. I'm currently in the middle of stuff. What's the matter? What do you want? You look like my cat Shibber. Yeah. Oh god. Okay, and more. I read that wrong. Yeah, Cat Burr. This looks like Shibber. Yeah, so the leaks that are all over Twitter are for his weekly boss. That's not what he's gonna look like. And also everyone asking for a particular item. They can't put it in the fucking game because it will break. Even though his model has been in the game before, like multiple times, or once if you are a late player. Who's? I'm not saying it out loud. I don't want to get in trouble. Because I'm actually trying to get sponsorships from Genshin now, so I'm not going to be saying things. That meow, actually. But I will say, he was mentioned. Genshin's a fucking bitch. Yes! You can do that? Do what? But yeah, no. The character, I would like to talk to the people who work on, like, the character design, because can you make your characters fucking dark? Because the Archon, I don't know how to say her name yet, and I'm so fucking terrified of butchering it. Yes, Eric can get, yeah, you can get sponsored. This is my dumb multiverse. But what I think with the amount of times I've talked shit, please do not send me all the way, you son of a bitch. With how often I think I, like, talk about the company and how, like, all that, I'm probably never gonna get sponsored, but we'll see. Also with the fact that Ray literally has a fucking, but yeah. But yeah, it's a possibility. Fuck, I always click on that Pax. That's... Yeah, that's why I don't believe it. Air gets sponsored before affiliate. Feels bad. I have literally denied a sponsorship because I don't like the game. Yeah, so there's a chance. I've gotten 2 sponsorship deals. I've turned them both down. Because they are not a good pay for how small I am. Which one's Raid Shadow Legends? I will admit that. Raid Shadow Legends. The first one I didn't see it in time. And like I didn't know I had one until my friend's like, "You do know you have a sponsorship, right?" And I was like, "What?" And then the second one I physically, by the time that they were giving me to give it out, I would be so focused on school I would not be able to stream as much. Men are hot. Amen. Hi, Justin. Welcome to the stream. How are you? How was your day? How was your night? How's everything going? We are literally talking about how Genshin needs to change its system for the very long run because it's fucking stupid. Also, we're talking about how I can get sponsored. Which one? Raid Shadow Legends. I've denied Raid Shadow Legends. I'm too against stepping over this man. Do tell. Sims. Don't I have seagrass? I was about to say, pretty sure I have some. It's got a deep voice. Deep voices do hit, but who is it? I would like to know this information. Wait, am I getting a recipe? Did I just get a fucking cat meal? If you do not think I will not be a spiteful bitch and eat it, you're wrong. I'm gonna be honest, this actually looks good. It's a friend of mine. Okay, never mind. Yulons. I was about... That actually looks cute. Wait a second. That's actually fucking cute. Imagine being a simp. Well, shit. Shit. Imagine not having a love life and being over the age of 16. Goddamn shit! Hey, I did not come out to be called out today. I did not stream 3 hours late. No, we're keeping the candle burned for a little bit. I got all the edges burned, so perfect. Also, not the bad thing, my crush is emo. Oh, shit. Okay, how emo are we talking about? On a scale of like 1 to 10. Your hobbits simply call you out to common knowledge. Yeah, you very much not wrong. I sim for way. Can I can feed the cats! Oh, where's a pot? I will go into the fucking teapot just to feed the cats. Cat feeding simulator? Girlfriend. Sad anime. Ah! 6 months. He's really into emo anime character. Oh, you son of a bitch! Fine. It won't let me into my teapot. I didn't see the no thing. Okay. Oh. Another bad thing. Oh no. I keep fucking... There we go. Give me the cat, son of a bitch. Can I have a skip dialogue, please? For how many times I've accidentally clicked on this fucking thing? Oh no. Yeah, we both have a constable boy. I don't want people to think the stereotype of ooh, soft boy and top. Ah, we're going there. It's a fucking Diona. No, Diona doesn't have a specialty dish. I have a chance to receive double the product. I hate that dynamic so much. Also, which hangout should I unlock? Betos. I'm okay with that dynamic if it's done well. Just stop liking my eyelashes. Keep getting mad. Fuck. Okay, done. That boyfriend webtoons. We don't talk about that fucking webtoon. We don't. I have my own personal reason for like disliking the creator. You can literally look up boyfriend slander on YouTube and there's a video essay on why I don't like him. But motherfucker. Again, it's a good concept when done well. Alright, come here. I get to feed the cats. Confirm. I almost hit a cat. Goddamn, perfect cat food making needed skills.
Yuko. Isa.
But yeah. What page number? I think I only need 3 more pages. Fuck, I'm lonely as hell. I should not complain, but I can't my crush somehow.
Yuko.
Hold up, what? Hold up. Fucking lonely as hell, man. Ah, yes. We all just a bunch of lonely bitches. I just slammed my finger in the back of my desk. That hurt. We're so lonely. In DVR. God, that I wanna kiss. Am I done? Am I done? Is this all? Is this all for the fucking cats? No. There's more. There's more. There's more. Let me in the shiny, bitch. Fuck. There's more to you. God damn it. What is up with Inazuma and having multiple day quest? That's why you are lonely. I'm an emotionally closed off bitch who's afraid of getting intimate with people. That is actually true. Don't you fucking call me old. If I keep hitting fucking control like I've done because I keep playing fucking Minecraft off stream, I'm gonna scream. I have not, and I forgot about that. I have not. I've seen a story quest. Last edition I had is when I was fucking happy people thought me in it for a thing. Hey, yo. Tell us some Jurassic Park bitches. literally, I tweeted this on the public account. That out of everyone, it's only me who's not getting any, and I'm okay with that because I'm ace. Already 50 and have barely any quest. I have done over half of all of them. Good fortune. Good vibes. You heard me. Goddamn. How are you AR-50 and I'm barely in a quest? I've done all of Mondstadt's. I'm almost done with Leoways. Inazumas are fucking hard to find. But it's called, I've done majority of them. Fuck Monas, I'm not doing that. I'll have Ray do it. And then I've done most of the hangouts. Why'd you call me O though? Also, both Venti's and Zhongli's statue are finished. Men are hot. I hate sports. Okay, some sports guys are okay. I've done all the stories. Some of them are okay. But then also there is some I would like to very much punch in the face. I need you for your plunge because there's an area I need to go to. Perfect, let's go. Wait, what? There's a chest? I'll come up. I want the bugs that hang out here. Hello. I need you to for Ito because me and Ray are building all of our characters to 50 because we're doing stupid shit. Is there any more? Also, fuck this quest and they're bringing it back and I'm annoyed. Let's be honest. Who would go with the wrestler? Casino? Junior, I think. I was thinking about more of swimmers because I actually no, scratch that. Never mind. Completely scratched what I was about to say. Some swimmer guys deserve to get punched in the fucking face. I'm gonna be honest. Also, a lot of the Inazuma quests are like multiple days. Swimmers, huh? I used to swim in high school. Like, some of them are okay. Like, I could have a genuine conversation, but other of them have such big egos, I'm like, I want to hit you as hard as I physically can. You'll get with a rescuer. Wrestler. Dolphin dances you in the face. No, dude. Swimmers can hit you in the face with zero hesitation. Especially if you're a swimmer and a water polo player, you're done. You're done for. They got arms. No, dude, swimmers have the arm strength and, like, leg kicks. What the fuck? When did I get you? Someone new try to figure out air. Hey, fuck off. What the fuck did I do to you? Oh, also I have a lot of the shrines open. You are semi-new. Eric's just a strange bitch. It ain't worth trying this Justin bitch. Yeah, no, he's been here for a while. He's not incredibly old like some people Seal. But yeah, no, he's not old. Okay, you go back. No, the oldest bitch in my chat is Wayward, cuz she knew me before I started streaming. So she's the oldest bitch who can't even describe me to a T. Fuck off, Air. You have been here for so long. I'm not that old. Yeah, very true. Again, I will be searching these fucking islands because there's a quest that I've lost track of because I got distracted. It's not fucking here. Slay to Wayward. Bitch has been here for so long, she's literally moved to a different country to get away from me. That is not true. Me and Wayward are still very much good friends. She would not have access to the group Twitter. Is there like a watch time? There should be. There fucking should be. Look, my coach isn't streaming anywhere. Keep bothering him. Oh. Why have I heard this before? They're probably asleep. Did you put it? I should have. It should. Let me check stream elements. Now, I have it pulled up. Ah. For 1 year, 4 months. What was that? Material bitch. What was that? You've not been here? Bam, kill me. Welcome to your suffering, bitches. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm kidding. Fuck. I keep hitting Minecraft buttons. I hear myself breathing. I'm moving the camera, because this feels... There we go. Oh, I know that area. Ah! Run. Is there a chest? Then I don't care. Air? Yes. Get your musty ass to Mondstadt. Why? Why am I being summoned to Mon? And do your... No. Fuck you. I'm not doing my Ascension quest. There's another one of you. You're gonna have to pry my Ascension quest out of my dead hands. No, you're gonna have to pry it from my cold dead hands. Gonna have to do it eventually, and I will. I will do it eventually. $100 if you do it. Will you actually do it? Your hands are already dead enough, you old bastard. What the fuck? I'm not that old. Ha 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 ho ho. I found you, bitches. I'm broke. Hello. No, you cannot force me to do it in such. I hope your Shao dies. I have killed my Shao so many times I can mail you a bagel. I'm not gonna be here in 2 days. Ah. 13 cents and 2 buttons. Ignore how I almost missed the crab. I see the chest in the background. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, I don't care that I just pushed you. Got a watermelon pillow. Am I getting another recipe? Nice. Imagine being short. Fuck off. I'm not that short. Just lower the roll. I know. I just remember that. Still did it. I know, majority of the times I do things under level. Just zoom through there. Damn. Oh, son of a bitch, I didn't heal Ganyu. It's fine. Thank you. So it's rushing more than half the population. Come on. Hello. There it is. I already got it back. Keep roasting, dude. I'm not afraid that I have some good. My god. Shit. I don't give a fuck, I'm healing. Europeans are also weird. I'm not European. Actually, technically, you can pull that I am half, but we don't talk about that. fuck is Rainton Haley trolls? Oh, hippity hop. Fuck. Excuse me? I'm Russian and a lot of people like consider. What the fuck? Oh. Hey, fall off the edge. It's healed, isn't he? Nope. Do not fucking fall off, I swear to God. You don't get a reason. Damn, the Russian roots really said fuck you. That is very... Bye. He's fucking dead. Which one of you are the worst to deal with, you fucks? Hello! It's fine. Why is Kanye almost fucking dead? Kokomi, you bitch. This is why everyone likes your old design better. Hippity hoppity, this is fucking annoying. Oh my god. It's a girl that I wanna kiss. Also, fucking, Twitch removed all my tags and I'm mad. Hang on. No! Fuck you! Fuck! Take the fish, you bitch! Freeze! Where'd he go? There you are. That face threw me. I don't care if that was a waste of his ult. I hate two of these motherfuckers more than anything. Fuck. Oh my god, why did all of your shit have to end at once? Twitch is a bitch. Honestly, but it's a lot better than YouTube. YouTube is a lot more of a bitch. I've had more problems with YouTube than I've had with Twitch. Shit. Fucking Donnie. Okay, that happened. I'm gonna be honest, I can lose Miku. Or Mika. No, what the fuck? I can lose Miku. It's a girl that I wanna kiss. Fuck, I forgot about that. I have 8 minutes to kill this thing? Fucking bet. Oh, you son of a bitch. What the fuck? How am I alive? Surprisingly, I timed that. I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Take care. Alright. Bye, Seal. Shit. Oh no. There we go. You son of a bitch. Come on. Haha. Okay. Holy shit. Let go. Hey. Haha. I did it, you motherfuckers. Oh my god. So breathing intensifying. That's what happens when I get focused. Alright. I just popped my fucking... my ring like popped my finger for me. Alright. First things first. Lower. I do not give a shit. Give me my single Primo Gem. Then go home. I'm gonna be honest. Mondstadt is home. Catherine, my darling. Wish. I'm going here first. Catherine, my darling, hello, who I guarantee is working for the fucking Fatui. How are you? Ah, yes. How's it feel, my friends, who are literally... Alright, wish time. I'm gonna get nothing, because I pulled a 5-star. My pity is refreshed. What did I say? Yeah, she has 3 days on her banner. Which means due to how it usually is, Sumeru is coming soon. Yeah, I got her a weapon, surprisingly. Yeah, do a 10 pull. Okay. Standard or Grimios. I'm not doing weapon. I have a feeling it's gonna be Grimios because I have no pity on standard. Alright. I was about to say I'll take a Kayakan, but that works. Hi, beloved. Oh my god, I can wish again. I appreciate you in this household. I have like, what, 40-something pity on this? So it's like I'm getting close to hitting... I'm getting incredibly close to hitting hard pity. Alright. Oh, no, but guess who finally fucking came home yesterday? Fucking Dealer finally came home. So I have all of these standard 5-star minus Tanari, who I'm pulling on his banner because people are, like, pissing off over the... how you can get him on the standard, but I was like, no, I'm getting my boy. He's all home. Yes, I bought the skin beforehand. So yeah, now I'm just missing a couple. I am so... they did you so dirty. She looks so much better in the manga. You're gonna pull for Shalini? Yes. Yes, I am. C6? Oh, absolutely not. No. No. C4? No. I'm literally just gonna go for a C1. Or a C0. It is very rare I will pull for a character's constellations. Unless they are, like, beneficial. So, like, this motherfucker. He gives me another one of his charges. But, like, Ganyu's... which one is it? Yeah, no, like her flower, fuck no. Yeah, no. I am not that big of a whale for this game. It doesn't get better or something if it comes. I don't know, but again, I don't mind. I cook so fucking often in this game. I knew it. Increases. Okay, I might pull for a C2 or a C1. I might pull for C1. God damn. Motherfucker can heal at C6. Of fucking course he can. So he's the C6 fucking Noelle. Gotcha. Yeah, see? Okay, I'm literally possibly going for a C1, possibly C2. But that is it. I'm not C6ing him. I have Noelle. He's a 5-star Noelle. Because she does the same shit when it comes to his C6. She heals. No, she heals at C1. I'm not C6ing him.
こんな風に暇をもてあそぶことになるとは。
I don't think I have anything. You don't have any Wildcons? I do. She's C6. That was just her details. Majority of my 4-stars are C6'd. Like, minus the occasion... Minus the standards. Majority of them are... have constellations. It took you too long to get here. I don't want to fight your boss. Yeah, I don't have any say. Genshin, like, never gives him out. He, like, never pops up on the banners. Hi, my love. I will put you back on the team in a little bit. Oh, wait. Hold up. Teapot time. Shut up, Xiao. I know the voices get so dark, and I love you, but please, hush. Those memories, so dark. That's what the line is. Shut up. I know I fucked it up. You probably don't have anything. No. But I will take that little sliver. I got a godly mask and got HP. Save for the characters who have HP. Oh god, hello? Do I have furniture being... I already took it all. Wait a second. I'm actually very close to, Yoimiya! Create. I'm running out of materials. Thank God for you, Emiya. Da 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 da. Oh, fuck yeah, give me that. Wait, am I really out of... Oh, I'm really right. Oh, shit. I'm out of white iron chunks. That's not good. There we go. Give me that. Thank you. Wait, can I put someone in my... Oh, Raiden! Move. What do you want? Damn. Shit. Fuck. Raiden! What the fuck? Raiden, 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 Raiden's getting placed now. No, I like the wall too much. Alright, what can I sacrifice? Of course Sarah enjoys this. I don't use Raiden. She is barely built. I also do use her. I just use her off stream. Because, the domains I need for them, I always fucking suffer in. Never mind, putting her inside. We're putting her inside for now. Until I can move shit around. She's going inside. This girl that I wanna kiss. That song's stuck in my head now. I feel like I'm gonna change up a lot of these characters. Like after every once in a while. What? Come here. There's a fucking placement. Just wait. 2 artifacts and crafting bench. Oh yeah, that's a fucking lifesaver. I don't want to throw her in a room. I want to put her here. I can put these in another room. Let me put her. Thank you. Let me put Raiden with her friends. And then I can put the wall decor in here. What the fuck do you want, phone? Oh, it's Instagram. I don't have enough 5-star artifacts now. I have a shit ton to waste. I have a bunch of glads and noblesse to sacrifice. And then I just have a bunch of other ones that are shit. I could honestly make this a training room. Or just like a little study area, not a bedroom. Raiden, darling! Welcome back! You are back. Hello. Hi, A. I've also got another OP one. Good morning, A. Yeah, I had Raiden here earlier, but I switched her out for Kazuha. Which I don't think anyone is gonna yell at me for. If I get a good Electro, it's okay. Domains? Absolutely despise my ass. I have the absolute shittiest luck when it comes to domains.
こんな風に暇をもてあそぶことになるとは笑えるな。
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's fucking sick. I love. Alright, cool. But yeah, she is honestly so pretty. Cat. I'm gonna send it to you. Do it. But alright. We're not going there. I fucking despise that place. I'm gonna do more of the hangout. Because I need to. But yeah, I am 100% gonna do Beto's next. Detective's disappearance. Also, let's not question how easily I got 5 hearts with this man, 6 hearts with this man. This one and this one are my favorite too. Continue playing. I wanna kiss. I need more artists because, no offense, I love the artist I have. Have you looked? No, let me open Discord. I don't have Discord on my phone anymore. Yeah, that's not bad. Oh god, what is happening? Oh. 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 Okay. Good thing I wasn't online for that. Have you looked? Yes, I did. Hello! Oh no, the Tubnet server. Cut your eye. Why are you saying the brain? Brain sometimes goes burr and forgets I've read messages. Am I on the same thing? Back. Going back. Brain goes burr and I sometimes forget I read messages or I repeat the same thing because ADHD brain goes fucking burr. ADHD brain goes burr. But also a lot of times my brain just forgets. You're fucking lying! What the fuck do you want, Instagram? 2 of these are spam, 1 of these is from a person who doesn't even use it anymore. Welcome back! How? Oh, I was like, what happened? I exit out of it. He is so unnaturally fine. And I hate that. There we go. People keep fucking up with my, Good thing is, camera gets to be returned. Why do I have 18 notifications? Hey, Paimon, play the Paimon, play the scam artist. Why are we going to the shrine? Clean up the degree. She's really good at acting. Hey, Paimon. Oh god, it's this bitch. I love how the Travis fuck it.
用事がないと会いに来ちゃダメかな。
あなたの悪巧みならお見通しですよ。旅人さんが宮司様を探しているわけでな。
さすが姉さんだ。
呼んでくるから待っていてちょうだい。ミコじゃないのか。
そりゃ僕ごときがあのお方を雇えるわけないだろ。
次回は旅人が誘ってみ
Get Ren to ask her next. God damn.
誘いならいけるかも。平蔵さん、あなたでしたか。ひどいですよ。もうずっと会いに来てくれていませんよね。
What?
義務労働の調子はどうだい？牢屋入りよりはマシだよね。
ええ、私はうっかり詐欺事件に巻き込まれたために平蔵さんに捕まって牢屋に送られたんです。
Hey yo, what the fuck? What the fuck?
僕が捕まった
Also, he's not vibing on the mic. He lives here
あ
now.
ら平蔵さん、ご自分のやったことを否定されるんですか。もう心が真冬の氷の
That
よう
is terrifying, but I
に冷た
enjoy
く
it.
なってしまったのね。平蔵さんが証拠と所在を提供しなかったら同心なんかには捕まらなかったのに。じゃあお前は神社で何してるんだ。義務労働に決まっているでしょ。平蔵さんにあれだけ情報を提供したんですから。とでも結局は何も変わりませんね。やっと牢獄を出たというのに葉っぱを吐いたり床を拭いたり、やっぱり労働しないといけない。
Bitch, if you're really complaining over that.
私の手は繊細なのに。平蔵さんは本当に嘘つきですわ。
君が事件解決に貢献したから義務労働に移してあげたんだよ。もし嫌なら牢屋に戻してあげてもいいけど、どうする？
平蔵さんたら
Damn.
私の
Man
仕事を
said
ちゃん
quit
と使って
complaining.
いらっしゃるんだから。
まあそれはさておき、この前詐欺防止の活動について話しただろ。明日は君をゲストとして招きたいんだ。ざっと計算すると1回で5日分の労働を帳消しにできる。悪くないだろ。
5日ごときじゃ足りませんわ。
じゃあ5日がダメなら3日ね。
1日減っているではありませんか、平蔵さん。
3日。
行きますから。もうこれ以上人の心を傷つけないでください。
So even the game simps for
そういえ
him.
ばこちらの方もゲストなのですか。
Hi, I'm
今日の
Ren.
平蔵さんはローリで私に冷たいわけね。新しいお供がいるなんて。みずみずしい子
Why
の
does everyone think people are dating this traveler? It happened with Ning Wang.
さん、もしまた僕の友達にちょっかいでも出したら、今後の義務労働をより充実
Do
さ
not
せる。
deny it, you bitch.
冗談抜きでね。
あら、すみ
God,
ま
I'm
せん。
too lazy to change. There's like a 90% chance of falling asleep in these.
平蔵さんのお友達とは知らなかったものですから。
今分かったのなら遅くない。さあ、準備しといて。活動の場所と時間を送るから。僕たちはそろそろもう一人に会いに行こう。城内にいるはずだ。
Is it Ito? God, I love when the events are very close to teleports. It's the fucking greatest. Oh.
イバじいさん、元気にしてた？
いや、平蔵じゃないか。お前のおかげでわしはもっと長生きできそうだ。
またそんなこと言って。
なんじゃ、今日来たの。
That felt backhanded,
おそらく
but
いい
okay.
ことなんかじゃない
No,
だろ。
it's not.
さすが、年をとっても頭の回転は健在だね。前回話した詐欺防止活動について考えてくれた？
他のことなら喜んで手を貸すが、今回はダメだ。わしはもう71だぞ。そんな活動なんかで恥をさらしたくはないよ。
いい給料なのに本当に行かなくていいの？孫の和美ちゃんは鎖国令廃止を機に旅行に行きたいと言ってるらしいね。今回の報酬をもらえればより思う存分楽しめるだろうにな。
お前は情報通だな。当時はあんなにでかい罰金を払ったが、いくらこのじじいでも
I have to find.
お前は平蔵の同僚だな。まさか
Man, I just started like 3 days ago.
伊庭じいさんは当時稲妻でもかなり有名で、彼の伊庭商会は今のバンコク商会と同じ、もしくはそれ以上の規模だったんだよ。
やめてくれ。わしが調子に乗ってあの異国の商人の後について間違った道を選んでなければ、詐欺師などという罪名を得ることもなかった。幸い平蔵は年寄りや子供を大切にしてくれる。このわしのために獄外監禁を申請してくれた。そうでなければおそらく一生太陽を拝むことはできなかったじゃろうな。
I'm just reading this, so I got really quiet.
お前も少しはお返ししてやれよ。
こいつが善意でやったとでも思うのか?
Because I like Hazel's character and I like his story event, so I'm just like really quiet because I'm reading dialogue.
平蔵に聞いてみろ。これまで何度わしから情報を得たか。
じいさん、そういう言い方はないでしょ。
とにかくその活動とやらには。
Also, it's like 12. It's also 12:30. So of course I'm kind of like kind of sleepy. No, I'm not. What the fuck? I'm not sleepy.
もうかずみちゃんに教えちゃったもん。みんなのためになるいいことだから見に来るって言ってたのに。どうしよう。かずみちゃんにはどう説明したらいいかな。じいさんが急に恥ずかしくなって登場する勇気がなくなったとか。当時の犯罪について全く反省していないって思われちゃうかもしれないね。困ったな。
お前、なぜまずわしに言わない？
じいさんが引き受けてくれないなんて思ってなかったんだもん。
お前ってやつはずる賢いところは親父にじゃな。
引き受けてくれるんだ。
そうするしかない。
Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this class.
こんな年寄りを相手に言おう。
I looked away. Well, your webcam. What did my webcam do? I was literally reading an email from a professor. I deadass was. I'm not kidding.
じゃあ後で開催時間と場所を送るから忘れないで準備しておいてね。
8 a.m. here.
わかったわかった。
What did the webcam do?
残るは被害者役を一人探すだけだ。
It was frozen for a couple seconds. Understandable. That's normal.
一目で手口を見抜いてしまうと芝居が成り立たなくなるか
I'm
ら、ね。
also gonna scare. I'm gonna freak out some people who don't know Technoblade passed away because I'm wearing the hoodie on the plane.
おお、彼なら知ってるよ。奉行所で何度か見かけたけど、あまり話したことはないな。
Himbo.
彼がどこにいるか知ってるのかい？
Also, I don't know if it was frozen, if just I was just really focused on reading this email.
あいつに違いない。きっと花見坂にいる。
じゃあ、とりあえず花見坂付近を探してみようか。そうだ、相手は彼だから、必ず参加を決めてもらえるよう、ちょっと準備するよ。君たちは先に行っといて。
How do you do the puzzle and dragon date symbols? Which one? My bad. It got stuck to my leg. Oh, look that one up. I don't remember how I did it. I can't find a tutorial on YouTube about the location. All you do is remember anything about it. Are you doing it for the box? I got 6. The only puzzle I remember is for to open the door. Oh my god, E2's fucking gambling with kids. I'm kidding. I love this guy. E2 is such an himbo. I love him. Yeah, the door. Look it up on YouTube. Look up the just look up the box. Look up the box puzzle solution on YouTube. It should pop up. The Dragon Spine box. We heard you were bullying kid. No! It should pop up, because that's how I did it. Because that's how you have the sword that... How many boxes are there? 3. There's 3. There's the one that you do with the puzzle, there's one you have to kill 2 mages for, and then there's another one I forgot how you do. Yeah, there you go.
お前が招待してくれるってんなら喜んで参加するぜ。だがちょうど明日出るは鬼カブトムシの大乱闘に参加する予定なんだ。優勝者はすべての鬼カブトムシがもらえるんだぜ。見ての通り俺様の本性魔王は紛れもない優勝候補だから折が悪かったな。
その鬼カブトムシが一斉にかかってきたとしても僕のこの1匹に勝てるかな。この写真を見てよ。
Oh, he's so cute!
なんだこいつは。なんでこんなにでけえんだ。この悪鬼みたいな模様、刀のような角。これが伝説の大王鬼カブトムシなのか。
これは活動に参加してくれる人へのささやかな感謝
Oh my
の
god,
気持ちだ
did.
よ。もし参加してくれるなら仕事が終わってからこれを君にあげる。
本当か。こりゃ行くしかねえだろう。ちょっと待った。お前なんか見覚えあるな。誰だ。それよりもあんなでっかい鬼カブトムシが本当にいるのか。
Don't con the himbo. He's gonna con him.
もしかしてお前も明日の夜鬼カブトムシだ。この間俺様に負けたから優勝候補である俺様の今世魔王が俺様の言う通りなんだろう。お前のその計画全部お見通しだぜ。
分かってないね。考えても見てよ。君の今世魔王が出場しないんだったら僕が残りの小物に勝っても意味ないでしょ。
確かにそうかもな。いやすげえ理にかなってるぜ。この俺様すら思いつかなかった。すまなかった。俺様は誤解しちまってた。
ね、本当にこの人大丈夫なの？
こいつで間違いない。ほら、お前が嘘をついていないかすぐに疑ってきただろ。
じゃあ自己紹介
Am I
させ
okay?
て。
I'm good.
僕は鹿の院平蔵。
My throat like
君とは
genuinely
無
hurt
病
for a
所で何回
second.
か会ったことがあるよ。
おお、思い出したぜ。通りで見覚えがあると思った。平蔵のあんちゃん。
I did not mean to skip that.
ちゃんとあいつに謝ったのか。
I know this is
男として勝ち負けは別として。
Don't look at me, I forgot the name of all of them. I'm pretty sure there's a prince, a priest, and a king. A prince, a princess, and a priest. Pretty sure those were the names.
はあ、記憶が乱れちまったようだ。お前を忘れるだなんて。
How did my nail dig into me?
今度こそ本当に思い出したぞ。お前は奉行所で
Oh, that's different. Oh, fuck, that's different. No, that box, those are, ooh, I forgot how to get those boxes. Forgot how to get those.
このあんちゃんがただでスミレウリをくれたんだ。本当にいいやつだぜ。
Oh, that puzzle. Okay. There's so many puzzles with Dragon's Spine, I forgot. Ooh, I forgot what I looked up.
なんだと。まさか忍が。平蔵なんちゃん。
God damn it.
まさか本当にスミレウリ
There is literally 2 different puzzles that are behind doors. There's 2. Do not judge me for forgetting them. I forgot how to get those.
この写真の鬼カブトムシを君にあげる。どうだい？
I know which one you're talking about. I'm trying to remember. Because I've done it.
その前にその写真をもう一度見せてくんねえか。
I genuinely forgot how to do that.
活動が終わったら好きなだけ見ていいよ。
決まりだ。そんくらいの時
I
間なら
forgot.
我慢
I'm
で
being
きるぜ。
100% honest. I don't remember.
俺の方でなんか準備する
But
必
I'm
要ある
pretty
か。
sure if you just look up, if you look up the 6 tablet puzzle
適当に仕
in
事
Dragon's
するわ
Spine,
け
it
には
should
いか
pop
ね
up on
え。
YouTube.
その活動とやら俺様は責任を持って一仕事するぜ。
なんだよ。その天から降ってきた
Why is one of the LED lights green?
明日の活動についてだけど、 君には他の2人と一緒に
Hello?
詐欺防止に関する芝居をしてもらう。
I can't find it.
君は平常心でいればいいよ。手元にちょっとした台本があるから、まずは
台本平蔵のあんちゃんは俺ら荒竹屋の舞台を見たことがねえんだな。安心しな。荒竹屋の芝居にそんなもんは必要ない。
I know damn well I did not just have to type in 8 stone tablets, Genshin Impact, and there's a tutorial.
台本もいらないのかい？それは楽しみだ。じゃあ明日の夜会場で会おう。
ああ、また会おう。兄弟たちにも見に来るように。
That's the first fucking search too, because I've looked it up before. I'm pretty sure someone did. Wait until the following day. Ah shit, we skipping time. I wanna kiss. Clean up the debris and climb. No, because it shows me the circle ones. Yeah, those are the ones you need. Once you find the areas, they light up without what motherfucker.
もうそろそろだ。
もう待ちくたびれました。
はよ始めてくれ。
大王鬼カブトムシ、おとなしく俺様の凱旋を待っていろよ。
What the fuck
さ
are
あ
you talking
始
about
まり
then?
ますよ。芝居で学ぶ詐欺にご用心。今日はこの機会に詐欺について少しお話しさせていただきますね。詐欺防止のために経験豊富なゲストをお招きして詐欺対策のちょっとした芝居を披露します。拍手でお迎えしましょう。エツさん、イバじいさん、荒滝一斗。では早速芝居の始まりです。うららかに晴れたある日のこと、エツさんが年老いたイバじいさんを連れて事件の報告をしに奉行所へやってきました。慌てたエツさんを熱心に出迎えてくれたのは荒滝同心です。
荒滝同心、助けてください。祖父がうっかり騙されてしまったんです。
荒滝同心、俺のことか。
台本を読んでいないせいか、荒滝同心は少し戸惑った様子であの有名なセリフを吐きました。俺は誰だと。
あなたは荒滝同心、同心様なのですよ。
そうか、俺は同心役なんだな。分かったぜ、問題ない。姉ちゃんよ、誰がじいさんを騙したんだ。俺ら奉行所はお前のために正義を貫くぜ。
わかりません。気づいた時はすでにお金を持ち去られ、小さな紙切れだけが残されていました。
荒滝同心は事態が単純でないことを悟り、顔をしかめながら相手の持ってきた紙切れを手に取って読み始めました。
私は内伝将軍です。南十字戦隊に誘拐されてしまい、20万マラの身代金が必要です。今すぐ荒島北方の海辺に用意してください。
将軍様じゃぞ。危ない目。
ああ、だがこんなもん一目。
私も嘘だと思いますが、
じゃあ早く取り
戻しに行こう。
荒滝同心は、
私はひなです。写真集の出版のために。
ひなさんか。
そうだぜ。なあじいさんよ、30万もらっ。
これは詐欺ですよ、荒滝同心。
そうだ、ひなさんがもし金に助けを求める相手。
それから
荒滝同心は、
俺は荒滝。
そいつも詐欺。
おい、
新滝同心が
でしたら
いや俺様そんなことは
しかし
エツさん
犯人が
鬼カブトムシ
祖父は最近は大きな受注があったのですが養殖場の広さが足りなかったので広げようと思っていた矢先にお金が
孫よ。
そしたらどこに住む新滝同心祖父の商売は
そんなこと
私は喜ぶ
そんなことかよ別に魅力的でもねえがなんだ
どうか助けて
鬼カブトムシ
新滝同心は突然襲いかかってきた幸福に包まれ
エツさんよ俺様はだが天領奉行の
新滝様あなた他に
問題は平蔵なんちゃんよ
そして突然小袋から今日支給されたば
おおたまげた今日が俺の
本当にあり
状況にかすかな手を離していれば
新滝様
待てよ
新滝同心は迷っているようです。何を
おいエツさん
新滝同心の
詐欺防止
彼は
つまりだな
来ますよ皆さん
同心の給料ってそんなに50万もらもあれば雷神を救えてひなさんの写真集も出版できるおかしいぜおい兄弟
場外に質問するなんて
これはまさに直感のきらめき旅人この
あエツとイバ
Okay. Oh my god, I have to listen to this
お
video.
前
Like
ら
fucking.
グルになって俺を騙したんだな弱そして最後に大きなありえねえことだ同心をもだ
結局そして最後に皆さん芝居で学ぶ今後も
どうだ俺様の実力は台本がなく
I want this cut out.
こいつが注意してやったおかげだろ
当然こいつだがあんな時代遅れの手が
そうだねこんな時代遅れの人1万匹の魚
絶対にそれをおおこのおい動けよ
これは作り物
なーに
あれ驚いてるみたいだねもしかして本物の鬼カブトム冗談でしょ君ならあの写真が作り物だって見抜いてるかと思ったんだ
Me
け
neither.
ど
Mate, I'm an insomniac. I don't have a sleep schedule. Ah, there it is. Motherfucker. Alright. I'm telling you, I'm fucking right. You have to find the tablets. And there's literally tutorials. Is that why you wear glasses? No, I just have shit vision. Also, I have too many head injuries to count. I'm telling you, I'm fucking right. Why? Because I fucking done it. You literally just have to look up the tablets and find them. First time I ever passed out. I have never... I don't think I've ever passed out, but there is times, like, that is bullshit. Just look up the 8 stone tablets and just skip to the parts where you know you found them. Andrea's while I was playing on an unfinished playground. Ah! Also, no one asked me about the puzzle underneath the fucking cryo. I've not done it. Then I've broken my spine. That's understandable. And I woke up in a hospital. Yeah, I'm calling BS. For this room, you just have to look up 8 stone tablets to find a dragon spine. What's yours? Venti, my boy. I need to level up some of you motherfuckers. Whoa, no one has died in the past couple hours. How much you want to bet? I was right. Yoink. I knew it. Single eye test I have taken in my entire life, I failed. My vision started deteriorating in... I'm doing that just so I can get the last, My vision started deteriorating around middle school. L plus ratio. Okay, shit, damn. I have to wait till the next fucking day. The glasses are for Harry Potter nerds. Hey, I'm an old Harry Potter nerd. And I also don't wear my glasses. Because I can see fine without them unless I'm like in far distances. Hello, I have no interest of hearing through this again. You must have bitched in your incessant quest. I did it during the stream. Yeah, you're welcome. That is like the least I've suffered through an Ascension quest. I also got jack shit out of the wishes. LCD has been lifted.
今日はこの機会に詐欺について少しお話しさせていただきますね。詐欺防止のために経験豊富なゲストをお招きして詐欺対策のちょっとした芝居を披露します。
But I'm gonna keep going into because I think he's a cool character.
イバじいさん、荒滝一斗。
Oh my god, I didn't notice the little stand!
では早速芝居の始まりです。うららかに晴れたある日のこと、エツさんが年老いたイバじいさんを連れて事件の報告をしに奉行所へやってきました。慌てたエツさんを熱心に出迎えてくれたのは荒滝同心です。
荒滝同心、助けてください。祖父がうっかり
I know which one I need to say too. So this is just me. I'm sitting here.
同心、俺のことか。
台本を読んでいないせいか、荒滝同心は少し戸惑った様子で、あの有名なセリフを吐きました。俺は誰だ?
Nope.
あなたは荒滝同心。
It's still slightly. I don't want to fuck with the candle.
そうか。俺は同心役なんだな。わかったぜ。問題ない。姉ちゃんよ。誰がじいさんを騙したんだ？俺ら奉行所はお前のために正義を貫くぜ。
わかりません。気づいた時はすでにお金を持ち去られ、
I was
小さな
right.
紙切れだけが残されていました。
荒滝同心は事態が単純でないことを悟り、顔をしかめな
Also,
が
I
ら
was wrong. It was the
相手
priest,
の
the
持ってき
princess,
た
and the
紙切れを
scribe.
手に取って読み始めました。
Do not test me.
将軍です。南十字戦隊に誘拐されてしまい、20万マラの身代金が必要です。今すぐ荒島北方の海辺に用意してください。私が自由の身になれば、あなたを天領奉行
There's one where he needs to light like two pyres.
将軍様じゃぞ。危ない目に合わせちゃいかんだろうが。
Also, we have a friend. He's not named, but he was a gift from one of my teachers.
雷神の価値がこれっぽっちなわけないぜ。せめて30万もの高だったら信用できたが。
私も嘘だと思いますが、祖父はもうお金を渡してしまいました。
じゃあ早く取り戻してこいよ。まだ間に合うか？
取り戻しに行こうとしていた矢先に祖父のところにまた紙切れが届いて。
荒滝同心はそれを手に
I'm
取って
gonna
読みました。
finish this up and then I'm gonna head off because it is almost 1 o'clock.
のために
Now I wanna grab one like a snack
緊急で
before I
30万モラ必要なのでぜひ応援してください。ご送金いただいた方には限定のサインリボンをプレゼントします。
ひなさんか。一大事じゃ。ひなさんを困らせるわけにはいかない。
そうだぜ。なあじいさんよ、30万モラで足りるか？足りなかったら俺も少し出すぞ。俺様も写真集が欲しい。いや、ひなさんの力になりたい。
again just look for the tablets. They're pretty easy to find.
しっかりしてください。
そうだ。ひなさんがもし助けを求める相手は俺様だろ。
畜生。それから祖父は送金して間もなくまた紙切れを受け取ったんです。
荒滝同心は紙切れを取って。
俺は荒滝一途だ。最近はめられて投獄されちまった。
そいつも詐欺師じゃろ。50万モラも請求するとはそんなやつは聞いたこともないわい。
おい
The what sword?
これは詐欺に決まってるだろ。荒滝一途は
あなたが
荒滝同心がエツさんの目線を追い胸、
Are you talking about Kazua's
なんだ
sword?
このくだり。俺
でしたらこの保釈金。
いや、俺様そんなことは。いや、この荒滝と。
しかし荒滝
エツさん、俺が必ず犯人を捕まえてみせるから安心し。
犯人が
Oh, there's someone in the area you get it from, if I remember the sword
鬼
correctly.
カブトムシ。
祖父は
I can go get it.
大きな受注があ
Oh,
った
yeah,
んです
no.
が、
That.
養殖場
Oh,
の広
yeah,
さ
I know where to
が
get
足
it.
りなかった
It's
ので
somewhere in
広げ
Luya.
ようと思っていた矢先にお金が
You
足ら
talked to someone in Luya.
これ
孫よ。
そしたらどこに住むん
You
です
have
か？
it? No, because I keep forgetting about it. I keep forgetting to get it.
祖父の商売は
そんなこと言う？
私は喜んで。
そんなことかよ。別に魅力的でもねえが。なんだ？
どうか助けてくだ。
鬼カブトムシ。
荒滝同心は
エツさんよ。俺様はだが天領奉行。
荒滝様、あなたは素晴らしい。他に
問題は平蔵なんちゃんよ。
そして突然
おお、たまげた。今日が俺の
本当に
状況にかすか手を離していれば。
荒滝様、
待てよ。
荒滝同心は
おい、エツさん。
What if I feel like I'm gonna lose a heart if I say follow your
荒滝同
heart?
心の直
詐欺防止。
彼は
つまりだな。
来ますよ。
同心の給料って50万モラもあればおかしいぜ。
これはまさに旅人。この
心の声を聞くか。かわいそうな被害者であるエツさんと残るかのこのくそー、なんて意地の悪い流れなんだ。エツさん、こんな偽物の小切手は渡せね
もう
結局自分の心の声に耳を澄ませた荒滝同心は意外な形で詐欺に騙される結末を免れること。しかし残念、彼は肝心な問題を見逃しています。皆さん、空から鬼カブトムシが鹿の院の詐欺防止劇場をちょっとした利益を貪ることなく冷静に判断する。
Oh, I love the trap in the background. I didn't even notice.
待てよ。平蔵なんじゃん。さっき
台本をよく読んでないのが悪いんだぞ。詐欺師は
くそー。
でも結果的にはお金を守れたし。
それは単
別に初めて。
今回は
その手口が未だに使われ
だが、そんな安っぽい手。
ほら、もう自分を責めるのは
平蔵のあんちゃんも騙された。
本当だよ。
こいつ。
そうなんだ。お恥ずか。
はあ？
そう、僕のせいなんだ。売り手の広告詐欺に気づかなかった。
お前本当に騙されたのか？欲しかった鬼カブトムシは手に入らなかったが、 平蔵俺様の知恵は
Oh, I was about to make this is gonna end horribly.
今や俺だがそれは俺様と本はこれを見て
There we go. Gotcha, bitch. Give me the primos. I'm putting that in his room. Give me that shit. Thank you. Look at that. Look at that. Aw, he doesn't have one like the special ones. That sucks. Alright. I'm putting that in his room. To Liyue. Wait, there's still more primos to come from. Give me that. Thank you. I don't care that it was 20. Coming for you, Beto, next. Let me in. Let me in. You didn't do— no. Oh shit. Hello. Here you are. I didn't even mean to do that. Just go next to him. Wait, I need this. Oh, you refresh in 3 fucking hours. Clean up the debris inside the new dialogue. Alright. There we go. You don't use a sword, you do. Switch. It's only mentioned mastery, so it works for it. Yeah, it works for Kazuha. No, I'm not gonna do that. I wanna kiss. Ah, fuck. 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 46. Ooh, yeah, I'm hitting art pity. How many of you can I level up right now? Yanfei, I'm not even— no. I fucking hate fighting this thing. I farmed for Xiao so much. You know what, Sara? You're the lucky one today. You're joining the party.
力が体内に込み上げてくる。
No. Alright, let that level up so then she can join. What weapon does Sarah have? Chi-Chi just vibes. Oh, hell yeah, take that. I'm saving this for other characters, so don't even try. That's a nice sword. It's not a sword, it's a claymore. Never mind.
Yes.
I see, Chris. Big sword. Do you have any artifacts on you? You used to. What the fuck happened to them? I need to go farming for artifacts. Physical. Why the fuck are you all Shit, okay. HP. There's someone else that's gonna go to. Why must you forsake me? Are you all... Ow. I don't think I have anything to level up Chi-Chi. I fucking do. Nope, those are going to Ganyu. Fuck you if you need those. No, oh god. Yeah, no, fuck you if you need those. Hi, I like your backstory. Cause the bitch is ascending. Alright, it's 1 o'clock. When the fuck? Oh yeah, cause I bought them. I'm gonna go bully the roaches fine. Later. Yeah, you need something else. Alright, cool. Come on, teacher needs to be... No. Again, Chi-Chi is not anything. If I'm gonna use a character, it's gonna be Barbara. Because at least she can actually fucking heal someone. Or revive someone, at least. Healing bonus to HP. You got a cut, Barbara. That's not a good piece. What percent is getting? I don't fucking know. I don't remember. Max the tree out because I wanted the wings. I didn't pay attention to anything else. I wanted pretty wings. that literally all my cryo character has. Because I like giving them cryo. Like expiration, you are looking at the wrong person. I don't think it gives, I don't know. I literally do not remember. But alright. Wait, MCC's tomorrow? Well, shit. It's not gonna do a lot. And 93. Not bad. Okay. But no, seriously. Alright. We're gonna raid. Alright, someone's doing Cult of the Lamb, which I am gonna add to my list of games I want to play. But alright, you're not seeing me until Tuesday. If any of you leak anything from Sumeru, it's not a automatic ban. If you leak any story, you're done. Understand? Good. Goodbye.